The darkest of conspiracy theories is that this was planned. They knew this is going to be a financial windfall. It is the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the United States by far, from the working class to the elite. It's like $3+ trillion or something crazy like that.
Yep.
We've already established that it was created in a lab. We already established that USAID funded it. We already established that Fauci et al. Lied about gain-of-function research, what they were doing. The worst theory possible is that this was released on purpose.
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. Yeah.
Have you ever danced that one around your head? Because that's where we know they're willing to do horrible, evil shit. But, like, is there a ceiling on that?
Even now to this day, having spent so much of my life in it, I try to just pursue the leads that I have and then try to let the conclusions come to me. Certainly the fact that they funded the capacity to do this, they worked directly with all the networks that were both doing it and censoring it, puts you pretty much as, they created it and they covered up at least the leak. In terms of the intentionality for doing it, that is a really dark scenario. There are a lot of things in American history that have that same, Miha-Liha distinction. Did they make it happen or did they let it happen? Did they let it happen or did they make it happen? And both of them are major scandals that completely change the legitimacy and credibility of policy changes in response to the crisis, for example. Like, take something like Pearl Harbor, right? It's been declassified now. The McCollum memo, the 8 action plan. Are you familiar with this?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And this was, written before the bombing, and it was 8 ways to get Japan to attack us because we don't have diplomatic cover to declare war on them. But if we get them to attack us, and we can then spiral that into a war predicate. I mean, the same thing, for example, with the Northwoods memo, with pretext to war with Cuba and cooking up all these, hijacking our own planes, sinking our own ships, doing riots on the streets of Miami, and then saying that it was the Cuban government behind it. Same thing with Vietnam, Gulf of Tonkin. Same thing with with the weapons of mass destruction predicate for invading Iraq. Did we know that were we duped and the crime was negligence for letting our national security state believe the New York Times reporting on chemical and biological and weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, or did we make that happen? Was that something that we knew was not true based on our own intelligence, but because there was a useful thing there? And, a lot of people have the same thoughts about issues around 9/11 and any number of crisis events. And I suppose I have my own thoughts on it. They're not fully settled. And because they are beyond the evidence I currently have, I stay in the zone of this is what they did to create it. This is what they did to cover it up. Here are the stars in the sky. Draw your own constellation from there.
That's a good way to put it.